Alrighty, folks, you know what time it is. It's patch time. So let's get right into it. Patch 3.0.0. We're kicking off the year with a large set of card updates. In addition to our usual meta-analysis and surveys, we also experimented with opening up direct lines of community feedback on social media as well as community channels to help shape this patch. So we'd like to offer special thanks to anyone and everyone who contributed their thoughts and feedback. Some notes on the priorities of this update. A number of dominant decks are being hit, including a few Poppy-centric decks, as well as Sejuani Gangplank and Scion Draven. Scion Draven, I barely see any of that on the ladder these days, so it's kind of odd to see it getting nerfed, but I guess the numbers are there for it. Otherwise they wouldn't have done it. Maybe it's a higher level thing. I've only gotten up to Platinum this rank, or this round of this season. In any case, generally aiming to improve meta and region diversity, we're specifically targeting Freljord with a number of card usability buffs. Now let's take a look at exactly what's changing. Alright, so I'm going to do something different this time, and hopefully things are going to go a little bit faster. I'm just going to rank them on a scale of 1 to 3. 1 being, I don't like this. 2 being, meh, I don't really feel good or bad about it. And 3 being, awesome. I like this change, and I think it's going to be really good. So, I'm just going to stick to that. It's either going to be a 1, a 2, a bad, a meh, or a good. A 1, a 2, or a 3. So, let's start it off with Scion, level 1. Getting changed. He is now a 1/6 instead of a 3/6. It's going to be a little bit more difficult to level him up. He's losing attack on his level 2 as well. This isn't that big of a change. I'm going to go with a meh. That's how I feel about that one. It's a meh. Ashe level 1, you've frostbitten 5+ enemies to you've frostbitten 4+ enemies. Another meh. Ashe still has all the problems that she still has. And this doesn't really change that too much. You might see some experimentation with Ashe in the Freljord decks now. Trundle got buffed. He has 1 more HP now. If I recall correctly, he used to be 6 HP and then they nerfed him and now they're rebuffing him. Or unnerfing him, if you will. But this is a good change. I like Trundle. I like control decks. I like decks that can ramp as well. Ramp decks are pretty cool. This is a good change. I like this. Anivia level 1, going from a 2/4 to a 3/5, getting +1/+1. That is kind of meh. Anivia is still Anivia. She's a little bit more difficult to remove. She's a little bit more resilient. But that's not really something that's really important with Anivia. You kind of want your Anivias to die a lot of the time. So this is a meh. Kindred level 1. Base stats, 5 cost 4/4 down to a 4 cost 4/3. This is really interesting. This is a good change. I'm going to rate this a 3. I like this. Kindred is such a cool card, and getting to see more Kindred is good by me. Maokai getting a slight buff. Instead of triggering on playing another ally, it triggers on summoning another ally. This is a pretty meh change. It doesn't really do much because you're not really summoning much units. You've got like Vile Feast and that's about it for summoning units in these regions. It could make for some interesting combinations though. Like say you want to go with Ionia and you have Eye of the Dragon. Eye of the Dragon is going to trigger the Maokai effect now. And it'll trigger it at the beginning of the round. So you can open attack. That's pretty good. I wonder if there's any potential with this. That's interesting. Still going to give it a meh. Darius gets buffed up 1 point of health. Cool beans. Darius, like, you hardly see any Darius in the meta at all. So I'm going to say this is good. Because it doesn't really make him broken. But it does make him a little bit tougher. 6 mana, 6/6, you're getting the stats that you want, plus the potential to level up. And that's pretty good. We might see some more Darius in the meta. I think this is a good change. I like it. Diana. Nightfall, give me Challenger this round. Nightfall turns into Nightfall, or when you activate another Nightfall, give me Challenger this round. This is so good. This is really, really good for Diana. You don't have to level her up to get the bonus challenging. This is a very good change. I'm going to give this a 3. I like it. I'm not sure if Diana will be meta, but she's definitely more powerful now that you don't have to level her up in order to get Challenger again. You can play her earlier than you could play. You can legitimately play Diana on turn 2 and still get to attack with her on turn 4. That's pretty solid. Zerath. Level 1, he gets 1 extra health, and level 2. I like this. I think this is a 3. Zerath isn't exactly the most powerful champion out there. And okay, here's another change. Ability now triggers on destroying a landmark and targets enemies before targeting the Nexus. I really like that because Zerath level 3 was like, it put you on such a time. It put you on such a short clock. You barely had any time to actually play against a level 3 Zerath. Now that you can hit units and it's going to target units before, this is really solid. All of this together is a 3. I like these changes. I want there to be more control type decks in the meta. And that's definitely looking like a possibility. Alright, we're done with the champions. Followers, spells, and landmarks. Bandle City Mayor. This better be a nerf. Your multi-region units cost 1 less. Turns into the first multi-region unit you play each round costs 1 less. That's a huge, huge nerf. It's not dead, but you can't, it's not broken anymore. It's not just an automatic 3 of in every single deck that you could possibly imagine. You're not going to be able to fill your board entirely in 1 turn. This is so good. This is a big nerf. I'm giving this a 3. I like that. Curious Shellfolk. 4/6 turns into a 4/4. I'm really sad about that. She was already relatively easy to remove if you had the right spells. Giving her 2 less health is a big deal. I love this card. This card is close to my heart. So I'm sad to see it getting nerfed, but I'm going to give it a meh. I don't think it's bad. No, I'm going to give it a 1. I'm going to give it a 1. This is bad. I don't like it. Lecturing Yordle. When I'm summoned or attack, create a fleeting poison dart in hand. Turns into attack, create a fleeting poison dart in hand. So you're getting 1 less poison dart from this card, which is great. This is a 3. This card needed to be nerfed. You saw it everywhere, and it gives so much power. So I'm glad to see it nerfed. I'm gonna give that a 3. Monster Harpoon. Deal 5 to a unit, plunder I cost 3 less, becomes deal 5 to a unit, plunder I cost 2 less. So that's a huge nerf. That's a humongous nerf. I don't think that Monster Harpoon deserved this. If they're trying to hit Sejuani Gangplank, then like, why would they hit this card? Sejuani Gangplank doesn't even always run this card. I'm going to give this a 1. I don't like this change at all. I think it was unnecessary. It That Stares. Play Obliterate all landmarks or deal 2 to all other units. Turns into play Obliterate all landmarks or deal 3 to all other units. Woo, boy! That is significant. The control player in me is having, not conniptions, it's a field day. I love this change. Automatic 3. That's great. It's Voices of the Old Ones. Gain 2 empty mana gems for the top 4 cards in your deck. Draw each card that costs 8+, then place the rest into your deck. Becomes gain 2 empty mana gems for the top 5 cards in your deck. Draw each card that costs 8+, then place the rest into your deck. So a pretty minor change, but a welcome one. This card would only see play in like a Targon's Peak deck. And even then, you might not even play it just because you have to play other stuff. It's 8 mana that you're using to not affect the board at all. And that is incredibly expensive. I'm going to give this a 3. I think this is a good change. I like it. Iceborne Legacy. It went from being slow to now being burst, which is insane. The potential for this card, you can play 5 mana, give +2/+2 to 2 units at burst speed. I'm going to give this a 3. I really like this. Apparently, this is how it used to be before they nerfed it. And now they're unnerfing it. And I am so happy to see that. This card is cool. I like the flavor of it. You can definitely build a deck around this, and I think I might do just that. Rime-Tusk Shaman goes from a 3/3 to a 3/4. Meh. Poro Herder. When I'm summoned, draw Poro if you have another Poro ally. When I'm summoned, if you behold a Poro, draw a Poro. Okay, cool. Meh. Chumpwump goes from a 4/3 to a 4/4. That is significant. That's such a good buff. This is a big beefy card now. This is no joke. All your 3/2s no longer trade for the Chumpwump. You'll be seeing a lot of this guy now. I suspect that Teemo decks are going to be quite strong in the upcoming meta due to these changes. 3. Ruined Rex goes from a 3/3 to a 4/4. Effect can now trigger up to 6 times, increased from 5. Meh. Coral Creatures, 1/2 becomes a 1/3. Interesting. Meh. Ascendant's Rise, 7 cost becomes a 6 cost. Now that's a change. This card never saw any play because mono Shurima just wasn't really competitive. So now, I think this is gonna be so much cool. Like, you'll get to do this a turn earlier, and that's humongous. You can drop Azir on 3, Zerath on 4, and then play this card the next turn. And that's huge. I'm going to give this a 3. Karina Varasa goes from a 6/6 to an 8/8. Meh. Back Alley Barkeep goes from a 3/2 to a 3/3. Can now create cards outside of your deck's regions. I'm not sure if that's a buff. The base stats, that's definitely a buff. It's a 4 mana 3/3 now instead of a 3/2, which is humongous. Now it can't get Mystic Shotted or traded with a 1-drop. You'll have to get like a 2-drop or a 3-drop. So that's pretty significant. But the fact that it can create cards outside of your deck's regions, I'm not sure if I like that or not. Because whenever you build a deck around this, you in the past could build around getting a certain set of cards. And now that set of cards is humongous. It can be any card in the game now. So that can be good and it can be bad. It's a really interesting change. I'm going to give this a 3 because I'm going to give it a meh. It's a 2. Buried Sun Disc. Start of the game, draw 1 of me if all your cards are Shuriman. Turns into start of game, summon 1 of me if all your cards are Shuriman. So you really only need to run 1 of these, and you don't have to pay the mana for it anymore. That's the big part. You get to have a turn 1, which is huge against aggro. Aggro is the biggest counter to a Sun Disc deck. So being able to play something on turn 1 and still have the Buried Sun Disc, that's pretty good. I'm going to give this a 3. I like it. Woo! Vengeance drops down 1 mana. I love this change. Vengeance is huge. And now it costs the same as Nopify. Or not Nopify. Jesus, that would be insane. It costs the same as Minimorph. So I highly suspect that control decks running Vengeance, you're going to see a little bit more of those in the meta now. I'm giving this a 3. I like it. Golden Crushbot, subtype none. It becomes a tech. This card is still garbage. Meh. Hidden Pathways cost 5. Now it costs 6. I'm not sure if I like this. I'm going to give this a 1. Yeah, and that's it. That's all the important stuff. You got some cosmetics here. You got some new artwork. You got some new card backs. You got a whole bunch of skins. And I read through these already. There's nothing really important here at all. It's all bug fixes, and not significant bug fixes. It's small stuff. So yeah, that's all that I've got for you today. I'll see you next time. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next video.